Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to Offscript.
Yes.
I'm Alli. Yes. I'm Alli. I'm Bri. And we have an amazing author with us today, Aaron Ryan.
Good to be here. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. I'm actually, so it's one of those rare times where the wife is off with both children. And listen, that's right. Nothing.
I know. Bri was like, we're going to record at your place. I'm like, I have children and dogs. Are we sure about that? But so far they're being quiet. So
Okay.
we had to kick one of the dogs out of the room because the two together, they just kind of go crazy with each other. Yes.
So. Oh yeah, I know how it is. I do that with my cats. It's all fine.
Yes. But we had the pleasure of meeting you at Nerd Party this last year.
Yeah, likewise.
You were our neighbor. And so you helped us out a lot. Like we were very, very nervous, but literally like as I was trying to figure out where to put the car, Alli came up to the car and was like, don't worry, we have a really cool author next to us. We're going to be fine. Yes. Yep. And I was like, oh my gosh, he seems so nice. So
I am pretty cool.
Yes. So we're so excited that we have you on today.
Yeah, it's good to be here. No, I totally remember that. That was a fun one. And I sadly, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I've been doing booths all summer. It's booth summer, and I love it. Lots of sales. Mm-hmm. But I did connect with Page Turner Books to do their fall festicon. Mm-hmm. And alas, I actually had scheduled with them, and it's October 12th, but then I was going to do the Seattle flea market. The flea market got bumped, or I had to bump it, and not the whole thing, but just me. And then they moved me and then said I have to do this one as well. And this one as well happens on October 12th.
Oh,
so
shit.
I had to cancel the festicon. I was like, argh.
Yeah, that stinks. Yes.
Yeah.
I know. We just recorded at Page Turner's actually. And so we were looking at all the fall festicon stuff and we were like, dang, this looks so fun too. I know. We almost signed up, but we were like, okay, that means we have to have a book read and ready by then. Like it was like a last minute thing. We were like, we can't do that. Next year we'll plan for it though.
It takes a bit. I'm actually, I'm really trying to line up the fall and the winter because right before Christmas, that's when people are going to buy things like this, like a full box set. So
that's a pretty
best time to sell.
Do you want to tell us about it? What do you write and what do you have coming out? Like what's going on?
Yeah. I would love to. If you have the time and if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, we do.
But you guys, you have my script memorized already, right? I repeated it for every single visitor. Don't you? You tell it. You tell it. I'm gonna listen.
I think it would sound so much better coming from me. Yes.
Okay, stop. Yeah, so like this always amazes people, and rightly so. It's totally fine. Last fall, I wanted to write a single novel about an alien invasion. That's all I wanted to write. As I went through it, and there's a reason I returned. I want to say it was like a return foray, but a foray signifies, an initial trek into. I've written and published 6 voiceover books. I've written fiction before. I wrote fiction as a second grader, so my storytelling days go way back. And I did all these books, but they're primarily business reference guides for voiceovers. Well, AI, among a number of other factors last year, despite having my best year in voiceovers ever, I'm currently the voice of United Healthcare. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah. You see the commercials or hear them, that's me.
Oh my gosh. What's funny is once you did that, I was like, how did I not realize I know. That? You're saying voiceovers. I'm like, I feel like I've heard this before somewhere.
Yeah, that's the studio back there. In case you're listening, I'm pointing to, I've got a voiceover booth. But yeah, honestly, but for United Healthcare, it's been a little bit of a dive. So last year there were the usual suspects of underbidding colleagues, lowballing clients, and the economy. But then you also had the SAG after a strike. And then on top of that, you had this gigantic intrusion of the entrance of AI. So Chat GPT, OpenAI, wreaking huge havoc across creative industries, voiceovers notwithstanding. And I've seen, again, but for United Healthcare, I've seen my number of clients drop. I've seen the quality of jobs drop. I've seen the income drop. So last year I said, I've got to pivot. So I said, I'm going to return to something I know, that's storytelling still, but I'm going to tell my own stories. So I started writing this novel, and I realized as I went through, I kind of reached like an epiphany point where I was going, ooh. When you write a story, you've got this constant running narrative that is the main protagonist's view, first person or second or third, whatever. And then you finally come upon an intersection where something else is happening, and any good story is composed of two or more stories. So I realized, wow, there's a lot more that can be mined because there's this subtle undercurrent of tension running from another story. I started to weave them together and realized this is just a far more robust story than I had at first anticipated. So the single novel became a trilogy. The trilogy then demanded a prequel, and then for whatever reason, the prequel ends 5 years prior to the first volume in the trilogy. So I wrote another prequel to fill that gap. And man, they've turned out to be the best things I've ever written. But it's like I didn't stop there. I keep wanting to untether from this world.
Yeah.
And I've got a great story I'm writing, but every time I try to step away, it's like, whoa, bungee cable pulls me back. And so I'm actually working.
That's okay.
I'm working on number 6. I'm working on the 6th installment, making it a hexalogy.
That's awesome.
That's gotta be cool. Fun though. Like you think, okay, I'm done with these characters, and then you're like, oh, just kidding, I'm back, guys. Hey.
Yeah, no one loves them or loves the world as much as I do.
Right.
I know them. I know this world, and it was funny because I've got a great story in the works called Forecast, and Forecast is all about a man. He's a weatherman, so of course he gets struck by lightning, right?
Right.
And he's able to then receive video signals broadcast in a slingshot around the sun of future atrocities.
Oh,
so
wow.
it is set in September of 2001.
Oh. Yeah.
So he's starting to see these signals, but the only way he can receive these signals is if he's in close proximity to the person who's about to commit said atrocities.
Oh.
So he actually starts to, he starts to tail Muhammad Atta, who is the lead hijacker of 9/11. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up undoing 9/11 so it becomes historical fiction. But, and wouldn't that be nice? To undo that. But man, it's a good story. It's just taken me forever to get to 75 pages. I returned to Dissonance for the first prequel, 75 pages done. Second prequel, 75 pages done. The sequel, 75 pages done. It's just, this is where I belong.
Yeah. That's so cool. Bri goes off about how she loves like World War II type of like stories.
That's where I'm at.
Mine weirdly is 9/11. Like I don't know if it's because I've lived it and I'm like, oh, I wasn't there, but I was like, I was alive during this time. So it's always drawn me. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
She's like, let me know when that book's out.
Yes, please.
It's a powerful story. I love it, and it is going to go far. And I will return to it, Scout's honor, when I'm done with volume 4, because I intentionally left the door open a little bit at the end of volume 3, Renegade, which is the culmination of the original trilogy. I left that door open, and there is something where you could really mine. There's a little detail that you could mine into a whole story, and I'm doing it. But I really do believe this is where the journey ends for him. Yeah. It should be. Yeah.
I love that though. I love it could end, but you have enough details that it could continue. Like, so then like fans won't be heartbroken, but then they're excited. Like, does that make sense? Yeah. Like, I'm excited. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the coolest things was going back to write the prequels, because you know eventually where you have to get to. Yeah. You know what's going to happen. There's no spoilers or anything like that. But you do have to sequentially create narratives out of bullet points that were simply, 3 words, a sentence, a small paragraph in the ensuing volumes that you're now going back to, the past. It just messes with your head to flesh out these narratives that person alluded to there. Well, it has to happen here. Yeah. So I've absolutely loved carving out these 2 prequels for the series. But the great thing is that in the sequel, which takes place after everything is done, it's just, there's still a lot of heart. There's still a viable, visceral, tangible threat there that needs to be mitigated. And you've invested so much time with the protagonist by that point, you're willing to go another 6 rounds with them. You're willing to like spend more time because you love them. So
yeah, that's awesome. Are you, when you do the prequels, are you nervous that you're going to miss something that you mentioned in the books?
That's a really good question. Miss something pivotal?
Yeah.
Nervous is not a super strong word, but I suppose there's a little bit of nervousness because you don't want any gaping plot holes or, oh, what about this? I think from the people who have read the first prequel, which is Dissonance Volume 0 Revelation, that one I really read back through everything that was alluded to in volumes 1, 2, and in some respects 3, although there isn't much, genuflecting back in 3. I really did a good job. I had to go back and find these things that were referenced so I could get them all. And I poured over it and went bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, make sure I get this and this and this. And then I put them all in chronological order. And then just, paragraph or story, done. Little bitty narrative here, done. And then down the list. I think I got them all, but I need some wood.
No. So someone's going to be like, actually, you missed this.
You have to be that guy, don't you? You're that guy.
Oh, gosh.
Those people do exist, I swear. But the hardest thing is, you guys know this. You've done the booths, and we did booth next door. I do an alien invasion saga. Note, I said invasion, not abduction.
Yes.
Not first contact. So all these people come out and they're like, you meet really colorful characters on the streets of the city.
Oh yeah.
you can't go anywhere. You got to do a booth there,
Yeah.
So they show up and they're like, telling you, dude, Area 51's real, and they took me up in their craft. And they did all kind of crazy things, man.
I heard quite a few conversations of yours like that. I was like, oh, fun.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I'm like, invasion. Invasion.
All right. And so is this the series that's going to get adapted?
So it's the series is actually going to be once someone picks it up. The first volume, which is Dissonance Volume 1, Reality, is the one that's already been adapted for the screen. And it's been pitched to 5 major streaming networks so far. 4 of them rather, have the screenplay.
Yeah.
So what he does is, and this is my screenwriter, who's actually 3 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. I was going to say Kevin Bacon.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah. It gets better. It's 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. I totally screwed that up. No, 3 degrees away from James Cameron.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That excites me. But he put it together. He's marketing it. He goes and tells people, I got this great story. I've got a great, book here behind it. And here's the pitch. If they like the pitch, then they ask for the treatment, which is kind of the overarching story of the series, the character Bible, the log line, which is we thought they were angelic messengers. We were wrong. The front cover of the book, blah, blah, blah. If they like that, then they ask for the screenplay. If they like the screenplay, then they ask for the source material, which is my book. And so, so far, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but there is one who actually has my book now. Ooh. And they've gone the whole way.
Oh, that's exciting.
So,
that's real exciting. And what was it like finding that out, that someone went all the way and was like, super interested?
It was awesome. We were in Kauai on a family vacation, and I knew we had a pre-scheduled call with my my screenwriter. And that seems so surreal to say that, I talked to my screenwriter the other day. Yeah. And my screenwriter, 3 degrees away from James Cameron. But he told me that they did ask for the book and they've got the book. And so that was, I knew he has a relationship with the producer from this company. I almost said their name. I knew he was going to have some favor going in there, but you just never know if they're going to go all the way. And it was the very first pitch and he went all the way. So I was
That's exciting.
super
Awesome.
grateful. Yeah.
How did you find the screenplay writer? Like, did you know him and like were just like, hey bud, can you write this? Or like, how did you go about finding him?
No, so James Cameron, Titanic, Avatar, Aliens, Terminator. He is the prolific director.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the penultimate director, and it's just amazing. His ex-wife is named Gaylan Hurd, and she's a very powerful, well-known producer in Hollywood. So she put on a contest for Hollywood Fellows. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but if you're like in a Hollywood fellowship,
Yeah.
you know, not
Then it's
nothing to do with a ring. But that and please don't throw my screen. She did that contest, and he was one of 5 winners of that contest.
Wow.
So they reached out to me after I'd been doing marketing and putting the book out there. His assistant, Mark, messaged me. I'm a cynic by nature, so I get this email, and the authoring industry is just rife with scammers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're all over the place, and they're impersonating perfectly legitimate authors now. I looked him up. I vetted him. He is who she said he was and who he says he is. And I looked up the average price to adapt a book to screen, and it was here to here. He was right in the middle.
Okay.
So the price checked out as well. For me, it's not an expense, it's an investment.
Yeah.
And I had to do it. I would be so remiss if, 10 years down the line, I didn't do that. But he was super collaborative. He made some changes I didn't agree with, and like changed somebody's age, attributed a phrase to somebody, had like a profane phrase, and that person wouldn't say that. So switched those back. And I really appreciated that because it's close to the source material. So
that's cool. So how involved were you with the screenplay? Right.
Yeah. Well, he would write it, and then we would meet weekly or bi-weekly over Zoom.
Whoa, that's great.
And he would share with me, last time we got this far, and then now we're going from here to here, and then, keeps going.
Yeah.
I always knew where we started, but he would read it to me and share it with me. There are some moments there where I'm just giggling, because it's like, is this really happening? Yeah.
Like we're just playing pretend right now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I wrote this, I really wrote it from a visual standpoint. It was a very cinematic type of writing. I wanted I wanted the reader to be able to envision it, and see it as I would see it, on the screen. I wrote it kind of for the screen. So it wasn't, I don't think, a super piece of work for him to then adapt this to a screenplay. It was very screenplay friendly.
Okay.
Already. Yeah, I think it was just, I just can't wait to see it, because everything he did with the screenplay really closely mirrors. It's very encapsulated and abbreviated, because that's just the way they have to do it when you take a book. And,
that's exactly,
But it's very close.
We know. Yes. We've learned.
It's crazy, but it's so cool. I'm pinning 100% of my hopes to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet.
And so it already sounds like a couple things. They were like, okay, you don't like that, we'll adapt and change. Were they pretty accommodating anytime you're like, oh, I don't like that? Or were they like, well, we got to do it this way because of this? And
no, those are the only 2 that I really remember that were any source of like of major disagreement. But he's such a sweet man.
Yeah.
And it's only him. It's only him who I've been working with. I wasn't really ever worried about anything. And if I was, one thing that he is really good at, his name is Alan Roth with Act 2 Media. One thing he's really good at is encouraging me, you need to be reading your books. Because what happens is when this gets picked up, and we always say when, we don't say if.
Yeah.
When it gets optioned or someone buys the rights to it, you need to know your books, because those people who are going to be charged with the screenplay, and we want to stipulate in the contract that we are part of that screenplay writing process and we're on set, they're going to know the books inside and out. So I need to know the books inside and out, because I will be a consult. A consultant on set. So he's really prepped me for the future for when this gets picked up. So
His name sounds very familiar. Has he done other adaptations before? Do you know?
Yeah, he said he's done about 20 or so. The main one that he won the award for was Jersey City Story.
Oh.
And that one is not Jersey Boys. That's the one I confused it with at first.
You're like, great movie.
Yeah. Who's that guy? That's the one that he's primarily known for, and it was a good one. It's actually a really good story. I didn't even know the story until, I don't know, a few weeks ago. What that is actually about, and it's kind of a heartbreaking story.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, we'll have to add it to our list.
Yeah.
There's plenty of heartbreak in my series.
Yes.
No spoilers, but like, hey, this guy knows heartbreak. That's fantastic.
That's awesome. So
yeah,
I don't know if you can. Why not? If you could choose the cast,
I know I was going to ask that too.
Who would you choose for your main characters?
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up an email here.
Okay.
Because one of the things that he actually suggested was, here, I got the email here. One of the things, what he's doing right now is he's going down the producer track.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the producer track is approaching producers with the big studios. And he's, if I named them, you would go, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're big ones. There is one that he said isn't terribly collaborative. And so that's the one that was, I was really shocked by that, because that's the one you think of when you think of streaming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say their name, but it rhymes with Betslicks.
Oh no.
And I was like, wow, really? Okay. Oh, well, whatever.
Interesting.
So I didn't know that was the case, but he may pitch it to them, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But he's going down the producer track. What we're going to do next, and I think he's prepping to do this, is approach agents for specific celebrities that he feels, or I feel, might perhaps fit the mold of the protagonist. There's 4 main protagonists.
Okay.
There's one main protagonist, but there's 3 other supplemental ones.
Yeah.
So I actually was looking down a list of male celebrities around this age, and female celebrities around this age, and then male celebrities around this age. And so at the top of the list, and this is not to say that they would even accept, but who knows?
Yeah.
Jet, who is 23-year-old Army Sergeant Cameron Shipley. At the top of the list are Dylan Sprouse and Asher Angel.
Oh, I love Dylan Sprouse.
Me too.
I could get him.
He went, when Alan saw that, he was like, oh, beautiful. I mean, it's like, whatever. So we'll see. Tanner Buchanan and Maxwell Jenkins for Ruddy, who is Jet's brother.
Okay.
Eric Bana and John Hamm for Bassett, who is a 55-year-old staff sergeant from Alpharetta.
Okay.
Oh, both of those would be so good.
Yeah. I have 5 of each of them. But anyway, Trudy was Madeline Petch and Bella Thorne.
Oh,
okay.
Primarily, I'm looking at them and I'm looking at their images and kind of, there may be someone who doesn't quite look like the image I might have had in my head, but the way they act could really bring to life this character. So I'm going to defer to him on that. I don't care. I just want to see it on screen.
I know. So one series that we covered was Veronica Roth's Divergent series. And if you've read the books and watched the movies, you know how great those are.
It was not a good adaptation at all.
And at Comic-Con, she was there. And so I went to the panel and I was too nervous to ask, because I was like, this is kind of a forthright question. But my boyfriend asked for me. And it was basically, how do you feel about the last movie that they made? Because literally it's like they had the book, but they were like, this is crap. I'm not going to make this. I'm going to go with my story. And she gave a laugh where I could tell that she was like, I can't say too much. But what she said was basically like, any author is going to tell you, even if it's a shitty adaptation, they're happy that it's an adaptation.
Yeah.
While I understand that completely, I mean, because it's every author's dream to get their book adapted to the screen. That just like, oh my gosh. When I hear that news, I'm going to be as giddy as an 11-year-old schoolgirl. I don't know why I changed genders there, but whatever. I'm gonna be so excited. But I would, you want it to build community, especially if it's episodic treatment, like on Betslicks or one of those, streaming networks. You want it to build community. You want there to be engagement, and you want there to be buy-in. And so if you've got some actor that people are just like, that, like, I will not watch anything with Matthew McConaughey. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we still friends?
No.
Yeah, I just won't. I can't say. I won't listen to Michael Bolton. I don't listen to anything Michael Bolton, and I understand that people kind of get married to the actor, even though it's a character. Even if they act it really, really well, that's still Matthew McConaughey, dude. Yeah, I could tank it. I would want us to be super, super careful and see what's the mass appeal of this particular celebrity, and for example, what is their name? Ezra
Miller.
Ezra Miller. Yeah, huge firebrand right now.
Yeah.
And was, but still kind of is, it's very controversial actor. It's kind of like, do we bet on them? And are they going to
not? Yeah. I know, because they used to be big, but now people are like, can I still be a fan of you? Or
if they're very polarizing, if the actor is very polarizing or actress is very polarizing, it could be one of those things where it just kind of it reduces the buy-in and the interest of people to continue to watch.
Yeah.
So what is the scariest part of having your book adapted? Is there a scary part at all?
So far, it sounds like you're enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so the pilot is the screenplay that Alan has written, and obviously parts of that are going to be rewritten. The producer will change things. A screenplay is never exactly how it appears on screen. So it's an idea. It's a blueprint. And then by the time it gets to the screen, the director is going to have ideas. The actor or actress are going to have ideas. Well, my character wouldn't say that, and whatever, and whatever their prima donnas and stuff. It's gonna change. So that would be the most like torpedo sinking feeling to go into, like, I'd get advanced screenings, when they do it and stuff. But if you go in there, even for an advanced screening, and you're like, oh, dude, this is awful. It would be such a deflating feeling.
Right.
And I might be out of my mind while I think that they're out of theirs, and the audience just goes nuts for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I was just going to ask, like, if that were to happen, would you then like talk to them and be like, hey guys, this is not at all what I want the adaptation to be. Like, if you don't fix it, we can't do this. Or like, would you just let them run with it?
No, that's where the streaming agency, who shall not go named, sounds like they're not very collaborative. So one of the things that we would stipulate, and this is where I would get an entertainment attorney at Alan's request and direction, we would get an entertainment attorney, and they would say, in your contract, make sure that you stipulate that you get to be an on-set consultant. Sorry, and not even that. Like that's the last stage. Make sure that you get to be a consultant for the screenplays of all of the episodes. And I mean, I will gladly attend all of those but as a consultant, this is my material. And they usually, if the author is there, they're going to defer and say, Aaron, what do you think about this? And I would be there. So I don't think that they would diverge too heinously from the original script. If we have our hands in it, if we're part of the cooks in the kitchen.
I would also think, we've noticed with series too, they're either spot on because they have, that much more screen time to make sure everything's in the book, or it's things just get added.
Yeah, fluff gets added because they're like, oh, we have so much extra time now. Let me just toss this storyline in that wasn't in the book.
But like we've noticed, at least they keep the storyline.
Yeah, like Umbrella, it's there, but then there's just a bunch of random stuff. And unfortunately, that also changes characters
sometimes.
No, it's very true. I mean, it's a syndicated 42 minutes for cable TV for an episode. Streaming is different, but ultimately, then you have what happened to the Hobbit series. You take an elementary grade fantasy book that is a single book written in a very jovial, tame jocularity in here, and Tolkien goes King James on everybody in the third volume of In the Return of the King. Lord of the Rings, but the Hobbit's very elementary written. And so to take that and to see what New Line did to that, to inject it with so much nonsense, it was this fat, bloated money grab that was so far from the books, and the purists rightly denounced it. I would hate to see purists go, I love this series, and what you made is an abomination.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. You just touched a nerve. I hate the Hobbit movies so much.
So hi, puppy.
Luna.
Special guest. Hi, Luna. She's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I have a lab hound pointer. So
how cute. Yes, she's just a baby. So
ours is a baby too. She's 12.
12. Yes. Hey, I got a 10-year-old and he's my baby too. So
Yep.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about this adaptation?
Oh, gosh.
She wants her screen time.
Oh gosh.
What else would I want to say? I am so proud of how everything turned out. I really am. It's a story that has, you guys may have heard me say this at the booth too. It is loaded with heart. It's loaded with thematic depth. The character arc, you always, if you don't care about the protagonist if they don't have a pronounced character arc. And Cameron Jet Shipley is this 23-year-old Army sergeant that's got to choose between justice and revenge, snarkiness or maturity, cynicism or trust. And he goes through a lot of betrayal, but he's got to stay the course and he's got to decide to just, not take matters into his own hands, to work together. That's why the series is called Dissonance. You have plenty of people, even 16 years after an alien invasion, people are still throwing others under the bus. They're still jockeying for position. They're still trying to get ahead.
Yep.
And we should be working together, and
wow, this sounds
people.
Familiar.
Yeah. Gee, is there anything going on in 2024 that I missed? It's horrible. It's not a referendum. It's not a political referendum by any stretch, but this is a common theme in many books that we just simply need to find a way to make it happen. And Jet has to make some choices to do that and move to trust. And man, he's got a counselor in the book that is, I love her to death. I could write an entire series on Pastor Rosie. Just awesome. So that was one of the most refreshing things was, you write the trilogy, people die. I mean, they're aliens. So come on.
Yeah.
They die. You go back and write a prequel and people are alive again.
That's so exciting.
Oh, that's exciting. I bet
It's
that's
awesome.
fun to
I'm not saying Rosie died. That's not a spoiler. Rosie lives. Rosie lives is also a spoiler. Anyway, it was just so cool to write.
That's so fun. The other thing I was going to say is, where can everyone find your books? Like, how can people get the Dissonance series?
Yeah, exactly. Favorite question, by the way. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
So, I actually, because that is such a hard word, people I love your Dissidents series. And it's like, it's they're not infidels. They're not, whatever. It is dissonance. And it's the opposite of harmony. So you can go to authoraaronryan.com. That's my authoring website. Or because Dissonance, the series, has a hard word in it, dissonance, the series.com, you can instead just go to getthesebooks.com. And
I love that.
Getthesebooks.com. So go to getthesebooks.com and that will send you to dissonancetheseries.com, which is a hard word.
Awesome. We'll link.
Yeah, I'll link that in our show notes for you.
Yeah.
And we just have some fun wrap-up questions that kind of tie in with Offscript. So you ready?
Let me get my knuckle crack on camera.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have any. I must have done it earlier. Too bad.
All right. What is your favorite book to film adaptation?
My favorite book to film. No. I would probably say, although I did them in the reverse, I would probably say The Hunger Games.
Really? You watched the movie before you read the book?
I did.
Whoa.
I did. Yeah, I wasn't a YA reader. I just wasn't reading like YA content, but I love the movies, and I don't mind at all that it's a quadrilogy, that they split the last one in two.
That one made sense.
Yeah, that's a story that you can, it just gets grimmer and grimmer, and the stakes get higher and higher as you go. So it's the last one is markedly different from the first, but I think they're so well done. They're so well done on both levels. But I did love the movies, so of course I'm like, now I want to read the book, and I'm hoping that's true for people who see Dissonance, and then I got to read the books.
I need to read it.
Yeah, but I went back and read the books, and like, man, these are really good. And first person is hard to write. It can be exceptionally limiting. Suzanne Collins didn't pull the whole dual first person approach like Marie Lu and give you first person from multiple people's perspectives.
Yeah.
It was Katniss.
Mm-hmm.
So I just that would be my answer to that one. I love it.
That's a good one. I like that one too.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What is your least favorite book to film adaptation?
I
wonder.
Did we touch on that already?
Next. Yeah. There's just no it's almost unconscionable what they did.
I agree.
Ugh.
I also, my biggest beef, so I have a degree in film, and the third film of The Hobbit came out like as I was in college, and like learning about, the steps it takes for movies to go through before they get made. And so the first time you see any kind of special effects, I was like, why does this look like they like literally were just like, okay, here's our base of what we're gonna try and make it look. How do you think, Peter? And he was like, perfect, we're putting that out.
Like they didn't finish it.
Yeah.
That was always my thing too with the White Orc. I'm like, you literally went from Lord of the Rings 10 years prior and it looks great. And then you did the White Orc and I'm like, why does it look like awful on screen?
Yeah, it was awful. That's such a great word.
Yes.
So like I did see Alien Romulus and I enjoyed it for the most part. The last 15 minutes are punishing. I don't even want to talk about it.
I agree.
It plays very much like a best of.
Yeah.
But I really was very impressed and so grateful for the fact that they are men in suits.
Yes.
That they are practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, you can tell CGI.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that it was just done so practically, puppets and on green screens and men in suits. It just looked so much more real and attainable that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. This one's kind of hard. I always stump everyone, and then someone turned it around on us, and I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't even have an answer for this. But do you have a book that you would like to see adapted?
Wow. Gee, I've already answered that one as well. Because yes,
you did the whole episode here.
The truth is, I mean, it's already been adapted, so I can't answer that. It's been adapted, it just hasn't been, picked up yet.
Yeah.
What do I? So I'm a big Aliens fan. Big surprise, but I love reading the supplemental novels by different authors that are in the Aliens genre, and we're talking the Sigourney Weaver, Ridley Scott Aliens. The best Aliens. Yeah, I loved Tim Lebbon's Alien Out of the Shadows. I thought that was a brilliant book that has such a twist where the whole time you're reading going, how did they accomplish this? And then you get to the very end. Oh, that's brilliant. It was brilliant how it was done.
I'll have to read that because I love Alien. Alien's like one of my, like, every time a new movie comes out, I'm like, okay, I'm there. I'm seeing it. Let's go.
Yeah. And they can be such letdowns. Alien 4 was such a letdown.
Yeah.
Covenant, such a letdown. I was not let down by Romulus, except for the last 15. Literally had my head buried in my hands for that.
I did enjoy the first parts of it.
Yeah, I would like Alien Out of the Shadows by Tim Lebbon. I thought that was a great book.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a movie that you wish was a book?
Oh my. It's one of my favorite movies.
That might be a harder question than the last one.
I know.
It is a harder question. Sometimes they make a novelization of it, after the fact, which I like.
Yeah.
And I'm reading, okay, again, dork, but I'm reading Aliens, the Alan Dean Foster novelization of the 1986 Sigourney Weaver movie, because that's my favorite. A movie that I wish they would have made. I don't think there were books on The Matrix.
No, that would be actually really good.
That would be good.
All of them, as 1 fantastic, 2 3 but they just descend into insanity.
Yep.
But if they took like an omnibus, if they made an omnibus edition, which is all of them compiled from three movies together, I do love and appreciate the story. You just can't kill Trinity that way. She's Trinity. I think that was so lame. So rewrite that part, put everything else in there, and I think you got a good book that I would buy.
There you go.
Awesome. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book would have to be Lord of the Rings. And not any particular volume, but all of them all together. So huge dork, full disclosure. That book is the first creative work that I remember blowing me away as a kid. Like, I just remember reading it and going, what is this? This is huge.
Wow.
And it was so rich with depth and breadth and backstory and the languages that he invented. It is the quintessential work of fantasy fiction. And undisputed, top of the pile. So I make an annual pilgrimage through Lord of the Rings, and we're coming up on it. I do it every fall. It's almost like
funny.
Close my eyes, reach to the bookshelf. What'll I read? Pull it out. Oh, look, Lord of the Rings.
Shock.
Yeah,
that's me with the my family since I was 5th grade. Christmas time. That's it. We watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy every Christmas. And so, yes.
It is a Christmas movie. There are elves in it. I rest my case.
Exactly. We haven't read it yet, though. So I'm excited. We're doing The Hobbit coming up here. So,
you haven't read Rings?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. You are in for such a massive, it is like, so the guy took 16 years to write the whole story.
Wow.
Or 15 years, 1939 to 1954. And Tolkien is a master storyteller, master linguist, master historian. You feel like Middle Earth is absolutely tangible and real.
Wow.
And gosh, the dialogue that the characters have, especially in a moment of mastery, where they're striving for mastery, for example, Gandalf and Saruman, it's wickedly cool. You're going to love it.
I'm so excited.
I know we're audio. Can I show you something?
Yeah.
So if you didn't know that I was a dork before now, here you go. This is a red leather bound. What I'm holding up is a red leather bound edition of Lord of the Rings that I personally myself made.
Oh my gosh.
Silver foil stamped on the spine as well. And if you open it up, it's got pictures from the movie at appropriate points.
Oh my gosh.
It's got all the maps in the beginning. It's got like
amazing.
It's got all the covers and stuff. And basically, so I studied Tolkien and Christopher Tolkien many years. Christopher Tolkien had all these biographies on J.R.R. Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien would list errors that he made that he always wanted to fix and he never got around to. So I fixed them for him in here.
We need to read your book.
Yeah, yours is the one we need to read.
I added narratives in here from like the supplemental works like the Treason of Isengard and the Siege of Gondor. I added a whole chapter from the Quest of Erebor, I think is what it's called, or the Tale of Years. And this thing is a whole ream of paper thick.
Yeah.
But this is what I read every year.
Oh my gosh. Is that just one or is that all 3 of them?
It's all 3 in one, plus the appendices and all the references, the appendices and the backstories and stuff. It's all in here.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I would actually read that one. So I do audiobooks just because I have 2 kids. Like, life is crazy. I just can process them faster. And so I saw Andy Serkis does the audiobooks for Lord of the Rings. So I'm really excited to tackle those at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At some point.
If you like audiobooks, so I'm a voiceover artist again.
Yeah.
And I hate recording audiobooks. I will listen to them, but I don't record them for clients. They take way too long and they pay way too little. I mean, it's like it's highway robbery. I recorded my own. So all of my books, at least the first 4, are on Audible. That's me. And I was like, I don't want to do this, but when a character dies, you're not going to hear anyone else so invested into that character or that period of the story. I was bawling in the writing. I was bawling in the editing, and I'm bawling when that character dies. And you can hear it. You can hear it in the recording. That's me. And I'm very proud of that. The story impacted me.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I was gonna say, we'll have to listen to that.
Definitely. My goodness.
I had to.
On and just talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, what was really cool is as a voiceover artist, I could do a lot of different accents. And so in volume 3, for example, an international coalition is formed. People all over the world, the last straggling survivors. I get to do a Jamaican accent, British accent, Mexican, New York, and they're all, distinguishable.
That's my favorite. That's why I love the Harry Potter series by Jim Dale, because he does different voices for every single one, and it's like it's so much more enjoyable listening to than just the same voice for everything.
Yeah, it's hard to do women because you just have to go higher pitch like this.
Yes,
But it's so fun.
That's awesome.
Then our last question for you. Maybe an easy one, maybe a hard one. What's your favorite movie?
Far and away, every day of the week and twice on Sunday, it is Aliens.
I realized as I said it, I was like, oh, he's going to say Aliens.
Yeah. And Lord of the Rings is a close second, but it's 3 movies in one.
Yeah.
That movie has absolutely everything. And the level of attention to details that James Cameron went. So here's an example, just quickly. At the end of Alien, Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, she shoots the alien out of the hatch, and then with her grapple gun, and it hits it in the chest, and it goes out. The grapple gun hits the door at the bottom as the door closes, and her gun is there while the cable is outside the ship. Mm-hmm. Right. And then it's tethered to the ship. So the alien crawls into the rocket tubes, whatever. She fries it. I never noticed this until my last viewing, a few months ago. That grapple gun is attached at the bottom of the door in Aliens, where they're cutting out the door to open it up and go in there and find her after 57 years. If you look at the bottom of that door, the grapple gun is right there. And I'm
gosh.
Oh, it just the continuity.
Yeah.
The first one was horror. The second one is terror. The Marines, it's so Vietnam.
Yeah.
The hubris of them, and they're all just destroyed. Vasquez is the best character of all time. I love that movie. Love it.
I do love it too.
That's a good one. Awesome. I actually have one more question.
Yeah.
So our whole next season
smart
is listener picks. So if you could choose an adaptation for us to cover that is not Lord of the Rings, because we don't have 3 spots, we have 1 spot, what would you choose for us to do?
An adaptation that they need to make?
No, we can do
us to cover
on our podcast.
Oh my gosh! Wow. There's so many out there. I mean, I would want to go in the complete reverse direction and go something like very human dramas, but that are action adventure, because that's just what I like. But like Lethal Weapon, the Lethal Weapon series, or any of those. I'm a child of the 80s, so any answer you're gonna get on my mouth is gonna be 80s.
It's gonna be 80s.
Yeah, I would have to really think about that because there are so many good ones. I think that that's what my mind is going to right now, because I love the dynamic between Riggs and Murtaugh.
Mm-hmm.
But they obviously already they've got 2 different versions of that because they made a TV show as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that for now, if that's okay. And then if I think of something later, I'll email you. And then before you edit it, you could go, actually, he said, and then you put a little marquee. Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else before we say goodbye that you would like to just promote for yourself or anything like that?
Getthesebooks.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's gotta be the easiest website ever.
I know.
It's one of those websites where you're like, seriously, nobody snatched this up. It's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I love and am so grateful for the story. So if you like a read that's actually what I say is it's terrifying, inspiring, and an easy read. Mm-hmm. So terrifying because of what the Gorgons do and how they can get us. And it's when they do, it's absolutely awful. When they go live, it's absolutely terrifying. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever written. That's the terrifying part. The inspiring part is just because of the thematic depth and the journey the character goes on. But it's also an easy read. And I don't know about you, but when you get to the bottom of a book, you're at the bottom of the page, and then you go, huh? And you got to go back up to the top and start reading.
Like, did I read that right? Like, let me get back.
Yeah, it's written too complex. Mm-hmm. The author's clearly trying to impress you with a super expansive vocabulary or whatever it is, or it's just not clear. I can't stand that, and I'm told over and over again that these are easy reads. I've got an exemplary vocabulary, but I don't need to bash you over the head with it in my pages. It's just I want it to be an easy read where you appreciate the story more than my words.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It felt very off script. Hey, what a great name.
And I'm sure we'll see you at future events.
Future events. Yeah.
Are you gonna try to do nerd party next year, do you think?
Yeah, everything that I've done, that was a good one. The most successful one this year has been Harbor Days in Olympia.
Oh.
But I'll be at I'm actually going to be a boother and a panelist at Doxicon, which is in February. And I'm really excited about that, but I'll do as many of them as I can. I'm just really gearing up for booths for the holidays because people buy books for their family members.
For sure. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
And thank you guys.
Yes.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Take care.
Right.
Bye, Luna.
she says bye.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.